So first of all, we'll discuss when to study, and I mean when to start preparation, then how to study, whom you should consult, whom you shouldn't, and some extra miscellaneous questions like sources, notes, test series. This is not much important because you know many of them, but I'll give just my insight on it. It is your choice. When to study. So we'll start with when to study. Hope I'm audible. Let me know if I'm not. Can someone confirm me that?
Yes, sir, audible, sir, but if possible, still louder, sir.
Still louder. Okay, fine. Thank you. Is it now fine?
Yes, sir, fine, sir.
Okay. So when to study? So we have obviously 2021 aspirants and 2022 aspirants. So now let us discuss about. Let us discuss about 21 first. So now 21 aspirants plus days for their prelims. So during this point till August, what you can do is, I hope you have completed your optional by now. Optional at least 80%, 70 to 80%. That includes writing plus reading also. 81. For them, you should be for the next coming 12 to 13 days, you should give 60% to your prelims of time, 40% to your mains. Okay, from August, you'll give your 100% to your prelims. And how to study prelims, we have already discussed it. Like how to study, how to approach that, we have already discussed. Then after prelims, you have almost 87 to 90 days. So don't take any break. If you are sure that you're going to clear the mains, or even if you are in borders, don't worry. Or if you're not able to clear the prelims, assuming that you're not able to clear the prelims and you're confident of writing and giving it again attempt, start with the mains, all of you, not with the prelims, mains. So this is how you should try to initially till the results comes. It takes 20 days, less than 20 days to get your results. Within these 20 days, as you have already completed your your optional, completely consolidate them completely with focus on your essay and ethics, because it takes very less time. It is about more writing. Then you'll have another 60 plus days. In these 60 plus days, you'll give your 50% to your optional, that is mostly focusing on your writing tests and evaluations and adding value additions. Another 50% to your GS, general studies. Within this general studies, you have to categorize further. How? This is how your general studies. See, your optional, let us categorize your marks. First, optional is 500 marks. Your essay is 250 marks. Ethics is 250 marks. So 1000 marks. Here. Then another rest 750. Out of the 750, GS1, GS2, GS3. This is the easiest part. And GS1 is most scoring part. You will focus more here. So what generally people do is they run behind current affairs. The moment they start mains preparation, they think that correct questions going to come from current affairs. No, not necessarily. Not that's not the true. If you really look at the statistics, I'll share that material with you. The number of questions that coming from current affairs directly are very few. Especially look at your bulk of your current affairs materials. Most of the current affairs materials are focusing on your polity, governance, and economy, environment. These areas are they give you so much of content, difficult to memorize or read. But do you know where the direct questions are coming from? Current affairs, IR, SMT, security, disaster management. Do you notice that what is the the content they are giving? Very few pages. Within these few pages, you're going to get more current affairs. Within this, only one question. Governance, one question. Economy, one question. Mostly what they are focusing, even if they're asking you current affairs, they're asking you the static portion. Static. Like how is the balance of power? How is this about judicial activism? But directly on your syllabus. You should know your syllabus, static part. Use your current affairs as an examples. They may ask you like recent judgment, but they'll ask you how it is impacting the center-state relationship. That for that you need to know what is the static portion, what is the center-state relationship. So your focus should be on, if you're reading current affairs, this area should be your focus. This area, whatever questions they are asking in polity, governance, economy, environment, you are very familiar with your newspaper reading. You don't need very depth understanding. Newspaper, done. Job is done. There is a famous saying in current affairs for current affairs coaching. Current affairs make good economics, bad mathematics. Good economics, profits for the institutions. Bad mathematics, less marks for students. So just because it's like a share market, just because you think that a particular company is doing well, you invest. You don't think of the facts. So share market increases price of it. Just because there is demand for current affairs, people think that this is a current affair. Institutions give you so much of current affairs, which you cannot. We are not able to handle it. Practically, we are not able to handle this. So these are the areas. If you want to substantiate, like if you want the clarity, I can give you my. I had divided last 5 years questions, all the current affairs questions from which area they are being asked. Number of questions. You hardly get 10 markers here or a 15 marker. Direct current affairs. Rest all static. Same with economy, same with. For this, you need not read so much of material. So focus on these areas. So this will cover you almost like IR is somewhere around 50 marks. SNT is like another 40 marks. Security is another like 10 and 15 marker, another 25 marker. Disaster management is another 20, like another 25. 25, 25, 100, 100, 140, 150, somewhere 150. Out of this 750, 150 is, or maybe if you can add this governance part, economy part, other parts also, another 100. Just 250 marks is your current affairs. Another 500 marks is just static. Within these 200 marks, focus on the areas I have told you. Prioritize them first, because other areas you are reading from current affairs, you need not focus on them very much, since you are very aware of this current affairs through newspapers. 500 static. How to read the static next? So you have 60 days. So out of 60 days, you'll give this 50% of marks for your optional. and another 50% for your 750 marks. Or you can make this 60%, add ethics and essay also here weekly, 40% to your 750 marks. Here scoring this 1000 is very easy, very limited scale, limited boundaries, very limited boundaries. You can play easily, limited one. This 750 is very chasing. Out of the 750, now divide further. 150, 250 is your current affairs. 500 is your static portion. Static portion is easy. Read whatever vision material you're reading, any one source. Enough. You'll answer them. Of course, you have to understand the trend of the questions, which we'll be doing that. Here out of 250, 150 is for this. Don't chase this 100 marks. We are focusing on no. We'll come to that. How to make notes or what to make, what not to make. First, understand the basics of question, basics of the marks division. Let's break some myths. Are you clear about the distribution of marks mains? Mains, are you clear this? Are you clear about like which part to be focused, which not to be focused, not to be focused much? Is that clear? Yes. Thank you. Now, the question is how to read. Trust me, it is not what you read you're going to decide your rank. It is like how you write. After giving first reading of whole syllabus, don't now you have to know how to write. When you know how to write, you will know what to read. So this will reduce your efforts, reduce the content you have to memorize. Otherwise, you'll read everything. Right. So writing is the most important. You neglect this, you're out of this exam. See, there are two kinds of people who are generally smart, naturally smart, very few. They don't need any guidance. So they learn by self or a simple guidance, maybe from topper scripts. The way they look at the topper script is completely different than the way we look at it. They understand the science behind it, the logic behind that. So it is easy, but there are very few. But most of us are an average student. They need push and guidance, clear guidance. Need to explain everything on writing. Proper guidance. Monitoring your progress. Otherwise, you'll just be in a vicious cycle. If you're of this kind, okay, you'll do that. Anyhow, you'll do that. But what we are now delivering is like what we are focusing is that you assume that you don't know anything. So you go for a coaching. So this coaching wallahs will deliver. No, but see, this is all about mains. Don't mix up. I have already told you like what to do during this last 20 days. I mean, for the next 20 days. So coaching, what they give you is content, but they not teach you how to mold this content to suit the exam. That calls for discussion of previous year questions and discussion of previous year questions and writing of your writings. So from my experience, I felt that I believe that there is a science in writing. It is not art, because there are certain universal principles that can make your answer excellent. stand out even with limited content, or that content can be recalled effectively. So what I have done in my preparation is that for every subject, be it geography, be it history, be it society, be it governance, be it whatever, for each part, I have come up with a framework which can suit 90% of the questions. So using this framework, I can recollect my point and put it in a proper order, which I'll be explaining now. Let's take this year question paper. 1 second. One second. Take time and answer this question. This is a question on Indian society, from Indian society of GS paper 1, 10 marks. Give me a content for this. How do you write in your exam? Take 2 minutes of time, 2 to 3 minutes of time. Anyone who wants to answer can raise your hand. Raise your hand so you can speak. Simple question, right? Very generalistic nature. Anyone wants to try? It's okay. Even if you go wrong, it doesn't matter. If you have only 1, 2 points, it's okay.
Hello,
Even
sir.
one, two.
Can I answer?
Yes, Priyanshi.
Sir, I'll start like in the introduction.
Can you be loud? A bit loud?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm just guessing actually. I also don't know exactly.
Hmm.
Sir, in the introduction, I will start with some report where some data will be given related to inequality and poverty during the pandemic time
Hmm.
that we usually get from the newspaper and all.
Hmm.
Next, in the body part, I will write like how this COVID uh, has accelerated the inequality and poverty. So,
How?
such related to inequality, like the richer got richer, like big people, so they made money in the stock
What?
and all.
What?
So I'm saying, like people, like the uh, people in the rural areas and living in the slum areas. So they
Mhm.
lost their money out of pocket expenditure for the medical thing, uh, going to the private hospitals and all. But there are some people who made money also by investing in the stock market. Those who were having surplus, um, like all those who were already having surplus and all.
Mhm.
So I can get some data for inequality. And so likewise for poverty also, like there were many families who lost their income earning people. So they went into the poverty line and all. And then with a way forward, I will conclude
Mhm.
like what should be done, what should be done or what could be done. And I can also quote some best examples from other countries, like what happened there.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, see, her like framework is fine, but she was a not she was like struggling to develop content, develop more content, because even out of quality, not just quality, quantity is also matters in UPSC. But how do you generate content in the main body? I'm not discussing about the intro and conclusions. Main body, accelerated inequalities. My idea for especially the society questions, or for that any matter, the answer lies in question itself. Accelerated class inequalities and poverty in India. Now, how do you differentiate these class inequalities? One, rich and poor, then middle class, third, rural urban, fourth, gender inequality, then working class and laborers, or capitalist, or anything. See, now, right under each setting, you can recollect like examples of data, like how it is created the data, how it created inequalities, accelerated inequalities, poverty in India, accelerated poverty. Like, how do you categorize this poverty? One, overall poverty, then rural poverty, third, urban poverty, feminization of poverty, fifth, I'm sorry, fifth is vulnerability to the poverty. By meaning vulnerability is that people in India are not poor, they are vulnerable to poor. For example, one hospitalization. Every year, 5 crore families are thrown into poverty just because out of pocket expenditure. That's called vulnerability. Now look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Here, 5 points. Very valid points. Very valid points. It is not that you don't know these points. It is that you know them, you knew them, but you're not able to bring because you got radicalized with the content, current affairs. You forget your your basics. The basics itself. So I believe that every individual have their own abilities to clear this exam. The problem is that either you're not able to realize, or you have the abilities but you're not able to, like, others are not able to train you on those lines. You're not able to identify that. On top of it, you take various opinions, you just try to copy that, but you don't find, you just try some techniques, random techniques and tricks, but you don't find answers. You don't find you don't get marks in your test series or what. But look at simple basics, from basics. So this is not just rule to one. It's not confined to a particular topic. For example, let's take one more. People said this is the toughest question in history this year, but how to write a good answer, a better answer. These are not frameworks. Let me remind you, these are not frameworks. I'm just telling you how to handle these bouncer questions, kind of bouncer questions. Frameworks are completely different. For each subject, they have a different approach to write answers. We'll discuss in later times. But I want you to answer this question. Take 2 to 3 minutes of time. Someone can raise the question, like raise your hand, and we'll discuss. Is the previous question approach clear? Are you clear about it, or didn't understand anything?
Yes, bro, clear.
Others, about others? Yes, thank you. Pala period is the most significant phase in the history of Buddhism in India. 10 marks, I guess. This is. Assuming that we don't know Pala, how do you generate content for this? Try, it's fun, like, participation, writing. Don't take it seriously. Have fun. Try. Tell me random points. Writing should be fun. Writing is very easy when you know the fundamentals. When you know the fundamentals clear, you can make magic, wonders in your scripts, on your scripts. Any answer? It's okay. Even if it is 1 point, fine, I'm happy. But I want you to speak. Metal sculptures. Someone did. Saurabh. Metal sculptures. Proliferation. Priyanshi, you can speak. Shivani. Shivani? Shivani, you want to speak?
Sir, I just remember one point.
One. Yes, tell me.
Dharampal or Devpal, I don't remember the name. They renovated or they popularized Nalanda.
University. Right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good point. Next. Gagandeep Kaur.
Sir, I know that the Palas were in the area of West Bengal, and Gopal was the first ruler, and there were some 4-5 monasteries built. Rest, I can say that from the question, the history of Buddhism phrase is given, so we can say that the rulers there wrote manuscripts were written and land grants were given to Buddhist monasteries.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Very good approach.
Thank you.
Simple. Thank you.
Bro,
Yes, Arvind, you want to try?
yeah. So we can write about how Buddhism has lost prominence from the ancient times till the medieval period, and the importance of Hinduism and other religions in this.
Okay, fine. So let me put it simple. Most significant phase in the history of Buddhism phase in India, Pala period. not just Buddhism, for any culture or any culture, for any religion, how do you categorize this its significance? One, it's art and architecture. Second, it's arts. Third, it's literature. Fourth is its spread, how much it is spread. Fifth is its spread and expansion. Okay. And percentage of people involved in it, religion. Six, number of sects developed. Literature already done, right? Popular or powerful arts involved with, then that's it. Music, art, under arts you can write. Now, if you can recollect some points like how what happened in this Bihar and this West Bengal or Jharkhand regions, some Pala period, you can recollect 1-2 points like okay, Nalanda. Under arts, okay, what happened? Sculptures. Okay, what is the literature? Language developed. Which language? Growth of which language? You'll write. Then spread. Okay, even helped in spreading the Buddhism to the Southeast Asia or South Asia. 4, 5 very valid points. Take any culture, its significance is judged on these criteria. Maybe you can write organizations also, if you remember. But instead of some random content, randomly picking up the points, you can write an organized content with more relevant and effective points. Simple questions. They're not expecting you to write like, see, compare a random answer, 1-2 points, compare this answer. Definitely you'll score extra 1 mark. Right? Simple techniques, not techniques. Approach, common sense, simple. Never make your life so complicated with the content. Whatever you have read, even if you haven't read about Palas, you are not able to answer this question. That is all. I'll tell you one more technique, like one more question. We'll take one more. GS3 we'll take. Is that clear approach? Like, are you clear about it, or still you have some doubts like what I'm trying to say? Is that clear? Yes. Thank you. Then, so everyone asked me like, provide me recordings. See, it is about participation and learning. So just listening to your records, it is not a content delivery. It is not a content delivery. I'm not here to deliver any content because there are many people to deliver it. So I don't even discuss like what are the sources to read. You people know them. But this is what we are missing. Writing. Take approach to the writing, simplest. You spend 25,000, 30,000 to your vision. They won't teach you because I already paid it. I know this. So with those confidence, I can comment on the institutions too, what they focus on. Okay. Now try this question. Explain its determinants. What are the factors that have been inhibiting from India realizing its potential GDP? 2 to 3 minutes. Give me a proper structure and some valid points. Like how do you approach this question? Need not be very specific. Just tell me like how do you structure this question? Subparts. Yes. Any answer?
Yeah, bro.
Yes, Arvind.
Yeah, first I'll define potential GDP, like the GDP that could have been that could be actually tapped through intervention,
Okay. Done.
and currently we are missing that. So that will be definition.
Hmm.
And then coming to the body, I'll divide it according to sectors, like
Hmm.
agriculture sector, industry sector, service sector.
Hmm.
And then in a side box, I'll write the determinants of GDP.
1 second.
The question was about determinants of
Explain its potential GDP. Why did you mention sectors here?
sectors to write the second part.
Oh, sectors, like what are the factors that have been inhibiting India
Yeah,
from
yeah,
agriculture? You'll write sectors.
sectors, yes. Based
Sector.
on sectors.
So each sector, one problem.
One, two problems like agriculture sector, food processing industry,
Good.
that
Okay. Okay.
sector manufacturing primary products,
Okay.
and the service sector, I have to think about it.
Okay.
So
No problem. Then that's it. Thank you.
yeah.
That's it. Uh, Vikas, you wanted to try?
Yes, sir. I'll add into this. Like we can write general problems from the syllabus of economics. Like what are the general problems India is facing in
Like,
GDP?
like.
Sir, like there was one famous case of banning a few NGOs.
Okay, that's a very random point. Suddenly, how did you get this? NGO?
Yeah, yeah. I just got this example. I don't know. And so, like these, I can write. This is a. I can write this banning of NGO as an example in some case,
Okay, then thank you.
and a few other points like infrastructure, and we have no dedicated freight corridors
You take 40 hours. Okay, thank you.
like this.
Thank you. Got it. Gagandeep, yes, we have
Uh,
Gagandeep.
Sir, I don't know much about the determinants. Uh, I can't quite figure them out, but in the inhibiting factors, I will write like demographic factors, like we don't have skills, brain drain, joblessness, and then some sector specific like banking, we have NPAs, due to which there is loss of capital which could otherwise have been used for the development, and uh, there is less manufacturing and hence less exports. Then I can write about agriculture, the subsidies issue, the
Okay,
no agroclimatic
I
smart
think
agriculture, and then I can write about the lack of technology.
thank you. Thank you very much. So many of you have points. Again, see, like no one answers are matching with the another answers, but all your answers are right. But how do examiner give you marks? See, this is how my approach is. Define potential GDP. Okay, what is its actual potential, like actual ability? Like we are speaking about 5 trillion, right? So maybe I'll draw a graph. Wait, yes. Maybe I'll draw a graph. This is the 5 trillion economy which India can achieve. But we are here. This is the reality. Some 3 trillions. They could maybe 3.3. This is what. So how is that? Now factors. What is the factors that is stopping India from reaching these factors? Why don't you go like how is GDP calculated? Tell me, anyone? What are the factors of GDP components?
Supply and demand.
No, components that you studied in your macroeconomics. How GDP is calculated?
Total
Consum
amounts of goods produced.
okay, that is calculated to consumption, expenditure, investments plus net trade. Do you remember this? You people remember this? You know this? You studied in your basics macroeconomics. right? Now take them as a factors. Consumption. What is the problem with the consumption? Why consumption is declining? Because people's income are declining. Why agricultural distress? Unemployment, increasing in inflation. Why expenditure is decreasing? Tax collection is low. And FRBM Act, GST laws for state. Why investments are low? NPAs, world demand is low. Another like governance issues. Some example specific. Exports. Why low exports? Global demand is low. Infrastructural low issues. Skill development, etc. Now look at 2, 3, 4, 5, like very organized content. How did you generate this organized content? Going through the basics. Look at the question. What is the question is asking you? Very simple. What factors have been inhibiting then India from realizing its potential GDP? The determinants itself. From determinants you will clear. You will write for the subpoints. Simple. We're not very random answers. Every answer can be solved like this. Trust me. Reading your basics with the current knowledge, whatever you have static, you can clear this exam. Trust me. It is an average student's exam, not smart people's exam. When you know these basics, you'll start. Okay, then you'll write, okay, we'll discuss like for history, what should be the intro. For economy, what should be the intro? How to write the main body, how to conclude, what should be the way forward. That we'll discuss. But the questions, do you see that? They are very simple, asking you from the basics, not current affairs or anything else. They're not asking you to be very expertized in everything. No, simple. That's it. So, but this I understood out of my failures. And after my 4 failures, like I understood with my teacher guided me. I met my mentor now. I met my mentor in my 5th attempt. I met my mentor in a 5th attempt. Then I realized it. Okay, like she didn't even explain like this. She just posed some questions. Yes, sir, Swati from C2S. Swati. And right now I'm teaching in her place. So she's into now media. She's a news reader now, and she works for media now. So she used to focus only 3 to 4 students for mains, and out of 5 students, 3 cleared mains with ease. So this is how she posed some simple questions to us. Through these questions, we are able to make okay, we are able to realize that what is that UPS is all looking for. Simple. We got radicalized through some random toppers talks, some test series. All these test series always focus you on writing more and more points, more and data, more points. No, writing 20 tests, 30 tests without realizing your mistake, without realizing any improvement makes no sense. And no topper takes this very time to explain the basics of writing, unfortunately. Like Anudeep Shetty has done that. He has written a book, good book, that even that helped me. His blog helped me, that how to write answers. But this is where. So but for students to do this, they need very close monitoring of their answers, like every chapter for every subtopic. Simple test, like 3-4 questions, just 3-4 questions. Answer them weekly. Identifying the mistakes, giving you a specific input. What is your mistake, where you're going wrong, fundamentally, how to correct that. So until you correct that, we don't move to the next area of improvement. First further correct that. If your problem is understanding of the question itself, focus on understanding of the question itself, not the content. Then if you're done with the understanding of the question, then okay, intro, main body, then improvements, valuations, etc. We'll do that. That's how your writing should be. So when you know this writing, when you know the basics of writing, now it is easy for you to consolidate or read. No, it is easy for you to judge what to read, what not to read. Simple. What to read, what not to read. Your content will be reduced completely. So you can more focus on your writing. You'll enjoy your writing definitely. That's it. So that's a one point. Now, whom to trust? This factor. This is a very difficult part. Don't get into this, bulk business models. Never get into that, because all they do is, unfortunately, it's a business. So that's how no one can explain you like this. You can't expect the institutions to teach this or a bulk. In fact, I know students where they are very bulk students. It is very difficult to answer them. It is difficult to teach them all this, particularly because they have to focus on every student. So it is not possible for them. So what they do is they give you a generalist approach. Easiest thing is to tell you or to prove that you're not fit, you lack content. Easiest way to deny that, to deny your possibility of clearing this exam. So you'll always, when we say that you lack of content, or when I give you some extra 3 to 4 points, you accept this, unfortunately. But if you question this, then you'll realize, okay, it's okay if you don't know 3 to 4 points, it's okay, but doesn't mean that you can't clear this exam, or there will be a similar question in the exam to write the same points. No, not possible. Not possible. So you can't expect them to teach everything like this very clearly detailed. Not possible for students handling like 400, 500 per batch, vision, insights. Not possible. Practically not possible. Even if I teach there, I can't teach this. So you need a guide. It may be your senior. It may be your friend who has good understanding on this exam. Focus on them. So don't waste your money on these fancy institutions. Instead, use them wisely. Pay your friend for evaluating your answer. Pay your senior. Little amount, not so much, very little amount. So they take interest, they clear it. They let you know. And you should be logically convinced about this approach. And you should also give time. Now, immediate changes won't be observed. Maybe after 2-3 months, you'll observe the changes. This is how you should select this, your mentor, your coach, or anyone. Be it your optional also. Don't be like a don't go in a flow. Go with the flow. You need some different approach. Each one is each one is have unique abilities that should be highlighted in your answers. Right? Common sense. Your common sense should be appreciated in your preparation. Then, okay, whom to trust, what to trust, then fine. Now again, notes making. What sources? No, I don't discuss on the sources. Boring enough. You have whatever toppers are suggesting, they're mostly the same. Trust them. But one thing is that one topic, only one source. Don't collect more. Current affairs, trust Vision. Vision is doing a very good job in current affairs magazine, not program. Not program. I don't suggest that. CA magazine is a very good monthly magazine. Only thing is you have to know how to study that. Without knowing that how to use it, you can't make. Just like you're in Africa, you have resources. Yes, you have resources, but you don't know how to use them. Africa, poor nation. Japan has very few resources, but they know how to use them effectively, optimize. Developed country. Of course, there are other factors too, but this is the main reason. How to use magazine, that calls for again, writing. When you know, like writing, like what do you write, how to write, you'll know what to pick up from the current affairs. It cannot be just told you like this in 5 minutes or 6 minutes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It takes time. This is how frameworks for different explanation. For example, history. There was a question on the moderist failed, or maybe this year in 1920s or in post 1920s, various ideologies emerged in for contribution of Indian independence. This is the question. My every history question, be it modern history, be it post independence, be it world history, one approach is that your introduction is I'll follow chronology. That is what happened in the past, what happened at that moment, and what happened in the future. From that situation, question perspective, they are asking you in the post 90s ideologies, post 90s ideologies, various ideologies. So my introduction is before 1920, before 1920s, most of our freedom struggle is relied on moderates approach, mostly moderates and extremists, emergence of extremists. That's it. This is what happened before 1920s. Before 1920s. So, but in 1920s, new ideologies emerged. What are these ideologies? It could be communism, it could be socialism, it could be Hinduism, it could be Islam, it could be Dalit identity, Dalit ideologies. Various. Okay, how do you develop these ideologies is a different concept. But the framework. Then, what happened in conclusion? I'll write what happened as a result of this. Indian freedom struggle became a more inclusive, which is reflected in our constitution. That's it. Take any history question. This is the approach. What was the situation before? There was a question on Curzon, Lord Curzon contribution to modernization of or etc. freedom struggle or whatever. What was the state of affairs before Curzon arrived? There is an emergence of student wings, student protests, or some wars taking place, some native kings, and growth of Congress, or maybe growth of Congress emerging as moderates, etc. So Curzon was sent to crush this. So he had made it so and so efforts, like so and so initiatives he had taken. What was the result? Or it was unity. Earlier it was a unity. What was the result? People got united of partition. New movement took place, Vande Mataram movement. This is my conclusion. Same logic. Every question, same logic. History questions. So similarly, this is history. Similar frameworks we have for geography, we have for society, we have for governance, we have for polity, we have for IR, we have for economy, security, so on so, everything. I just told you the history part without looking even the questions. This is how the approach is. So when you write your exam, when you have these frameworks, you don't think too much on what to write. You know them, you got prefix. That's why I called it science, because it can be applied everywhere to every question. So you know logic, You'll write. Simple. Don't think. The time to think on a question exponentially reduces. So more time available, more content. Simple. It's not like, thinking innovatively for each and every introduction, each and every question. That will not work in your exam. That will not. This is what you're taking too much time to think on what to write, thinking on what to write. But when you have some prefix introductions, prefix ways of writing introduction for certain, there are models of questions in anthropology. There are various models that we discussed. Either they'll ask you direct concept, they'll ask you desanskritization and sanskritization, two words in one thing. Then is another part is A impact on B, globalization on agriculture relation, etc. How do you write this? For concept, I just write with who gave this and which book, where. This will be my intro. When I write about two things, when I give intro for this, I write that to which part of syllabus they belong. Desanskritization and sanskritization are the process of social changes in Indian society. That's it. Done. Then I'll write sanskritization, desanskritization, relationship between them, what is the process, etc., etc. I'll do that. I have a framework for that. If it is A and B, I'll explain A. Then I'll write characteristics of A, then how it is impacting B. That's it. When my frameworks are clear, I don't take time. No. It is not possible like one session it can be done. Or if I tell you, no, it has to be, you have to write your answers. You have to get evaluated them, or you have to be monitored. No, it's not possible. Practical. It is not like joining, join my course, or I'm not asking you to join my course, or etc. etc. No. But practical, it's not possible if I take just one session or you just listen to it and you write it and you mastered it. No. Writing is a journey. It's a mental process. At least it takes 3 months of time. Continuously. Not easy. Techniques, when you learn these techniques, it is easy. These methods. But learning this and making them is a habit. You write it as a natural style, in a natural style, without even thinking. That's it. That's a problem. How to evaluate your own answers? That's a practical problem. You need someone. Who is that one? That's the question mark in your preparation. Unfortunately, in this exam, you have more people who didn't clear this exam. So get hold of them. Who has cleared their mains at least once, twice, who have very good experience. Get hold of them. Like, or else we are having like, our plan is like, we want to take few students, like 5 to 6 students. We want to have writing workshops weekly, taking one chapter, taking one part of the syllabus, and we'll discuss every week, like what is the progress. Only even I can manage only up to a batch of 10. Beyond 10, even I can't manage. I can give justice to your work. It may bring money, but doesn't help you. It may help me, but it doesn't help you. So there is no point in conducting programs such. I'm not interested in this money making because I have another work to do. But at max, I can hold 10 students. Nice. So what my idea is, maybe you think on that. From maybe next month, who are giving for 2022. As plan for 2022 is complete your optional by next 3 months. Another 3 months for your GS reading. Then GS writing. Of course, this 3 months included in writing. Then another 1 month for consolidation, 1-2 months. So last 3 months for prelims. This is how your approach for 2022. So what we are planning is simple. One, we want to take like 5 to 6 students who are already given mains, maybe, or even freshers who are given at least one reading, one reading, one reading, because we are not going to teach anything. So for every, every week we'll have a session schedule and mini tests like 4 questions. 3-4 questions. You'll solve them. You'll answer them. So we can discuss them. Then you'll learn that, and we'll move on to next topic. So I wanted to continue as an at least for 6 months. 6 months to master. For this, I'm planning to charge somewhere between 2.5 to 3K per month. Just per month. It's like a tuition fee. Tuition fee. Because one, you will be accountable since you are paying. Second, I will be accountable. And third, I want to make this money to help for a cause. I have a personal cause to do. I'll be doing that, and I'll be living. I'll also take some part of money for myself and some part like this one. But just 3,000 per month. Only just for writing. Simple writing, discussions, everything. This is for 6 months. This would be my plan. So anyone interested who have done their first reading? One reading, yes. Anything for yes, 2021 attempts. It includes 2021 attempts. 2021 and 2022. Anyone? Right. 2022 you can start right away. 2022 we can start right away. For Anthro we also have, for Anthro also we have writing course. We are doing that. Writing course. Writing course and reading course. With GS you can start. You can integrate this 2022 and 2021 writing. Writing is common for all. Yes. For 2021 batch you can start after your prelims. 2022 can join now. You will be integrating with 2021 extra classes. We can teach further. Join. Slow, like very cool. You can go with a very cool. That's the program. But think, even if you don't join, it's okay. Leave that matter. Leave that matter whether you join to course. Yes. Notes making. Notes making. Don't do that. See, what we used to do in our college is that we used to sit in the back. People used to sit in the front. Right? These people used to write the notes. We used to get Xerox. We used to just listen the class. Listen the class. That's it. But we know what they're teaching. So we used to get the Xerox, we read. So my idea is toppers already made notes. You read your static book, text or material, anything, and read it once. Sort of for familiarity. And this becomes your book. Add your value additions, whatever. Value additions in meantime. That's it. You save a lot of time. You should know that smart work, how to use the already existing resources. Be it your Anthro, be it your GS. You'll find so many notes. Search, find a decent notes for yourself. Be it digital board or be it handwritten, anything. Simple, clear notes, organized. Read your text once, so you'll be able to understand his notes. Then it will become your notes. You add wherever you want. Simple. Think simple. That's the idea. Okay. And one help for me is that please provide your feedback in the group. Like whether you liked it or that you didn't like it. Anything is fine. Okay. Yeah, yes, sure, sure. We'll share the schedule. For your beginners, this is how you read your for beginners. Start your process. Prelims already schedule is shared in the groups. Schedule is shared. Yes, yes. Charan, look at like this is how you prepare your mains for beginners. First, collect previous year questions chapter wise, topic wise. If you are reading some Indian agriculture, any part, read, go through all the agricultural questions. Then read. Then read. When you read this question, understand what is being asked. If your content is delivering this, it may not sometimes deliver this, but it will have explicitly or implicitly, it will have that the content. Underline them, try to answer even vaguely, at least vaguely. So your preparation is completely in tune with the UPSC way of questions. You'll also know the most of the questions are very repetitive, very simple. You'll understand them. So you don't lose your track. The problem is that you don't look into your previous year questions. These are the guidelines. Syllabus, keep your syllabus with you, and previous year questions. They are Bible. Forget about your religion. This is your religion now. UPSC is your religion. Syllabus and PYQs are your doctrines. Your doctrines. Right? Now, based on them, after going through them, every topic, go through the previous year questions, then read them. Then read them. Then again come back and answer them. Okay, it's okay. It will not be a perfect answer, but at least try to answer them. Then you can further. First reading should be like this. First reading should be like this. Then you can pick up some topper scripts, go through them, and make your notes. I mean, make this as your notes. Add your value additions, whatever you want to do. That's it. This is how a main fresher should read. Is it clear, Charan? I mean, did I made it complicated or simple? Yeah. Thank you. So that's all. Any doubts now? Any specific doubts you have? I think I have covered comprehensively. Yes, yes. Anything you want to know now? Don't waste your time and money on useless programs. Keep your exam as a center. Whatever that benefits you, discuss with your seniors, discuss with your senior aspirants whether this will help you or not. Because I'm telling you my personal experience, you will spend a lot of time and money now. But when you realize like this program will really helps you, one program will really help you, then you'll find that you don't have money for that. You can't ask your parents. This is what happened with many of students earlier. They go pay lakhs of money to the institutions. When they finally find a good program which helps them, they'll not have money or time. So take decisions wisely. Any questions? It to be catchy or should be straight away get to the question. Introductions, there are techniques for writing one, like history we discussed, chronology. I don't know what is this catchy. Can you objectively define that? It should be very precise and with relevant to the question. No, no, no. Using quotes and stats depends upon the question, or especially you use your stats for your governance or economy questions only. Most of the questions are of a different type. Like my approach is different. Okay, but it should be relevant to the question, which has a technique. Then Any questions? So no questions. Thank you very much. Please give me your feedback. I'm looking for your feedback in the group on like what you learned from this. Give me like what you learned. What is the new thing that you have learned on this exam process? Like whether it didn't help or you feel that it is a literally useless or has no sense at all, making no sense at all. Even post that. Agree to disagree with me. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining this session. It was very nice. Bye. Take care.